DW Africa Link.
Ghana and Nigeria have enjoyed a friendly rivalry across many spheres, from jollof rice and football to music. Each December, this rivalry takes on a new dimension with the Detty December tourism drive. But who started it? Who does it best? And who will keep it going?
I would completely say Nigeria owns Detty December. And I'm saying that because the origin of the word in itself was a concert by Mr. Easy, I think in 2016, thereabouts.
Detty December was popularized by Ghanaian creator. He actually invented it. And music personality Meister. He used it as a playful way to describe how dirty, dirty meaning intense, lively, and an unforgettable way of partying.
We have this and more coming up shortly. Stay tuned. I'm Ajuate Nkrama Domina, and you're welcome to Africa Link, the podcast that connects you to the stories that matter.
Africa Link, every weekday here on DW.
Detty December, spelled Detty, not Dirty, has become synonymous with fun, excitement, and the ultimate end-of-year party. The term Detty, slang for letting loose, captures a whirlwind of festivals, concerts, star-studded events, pop-up markets, beach parties, and weddings, all happening back to back to attract Africa's diaspora to both Ghana and Nigeria. Now, while Ghana has recently moved away from the term Detty in its December promotions, the friendly rivalry with Nigeria remains strong. So, who is doing Detty December better? And for this, we're joined by Eskin White. He's a Ghanaian media and entertainment analyst. He's also the programs manager for YFM in Ghana. We also have DW's Nigeria correspondent, Abiodun Jamil. Welcome, the both of you, to Africa Link.
Thank you, Ajua. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. I'll begin with you, Eskin, because you have been having a lot of conversations about Detty December with industry players, especially, during this Christmas. First of all, when we say Detty December, what exactly are we talking about? And why has it become such a big deal in Ghana and for Nigeria as well?
Thank you very much, Ajua, for that great question. So pretty much in simple terms, Detty December is a phrase that captures the energy, it captures the celebration, the festive spirit that happens here in Ghana during the final month of the year, which is December. Now, it's not just about parties or nightlife like people, always think. It actually reflects the homecoming spirit. It reflects our cultural gatherings as a nation. Embodies family reunions, highlights tourism experiences, music, the food, basically everything. And it boils down to the return of Ghanaians and the diaspora back home. When we say home, we mean Ghana. So just to give a little backstory on the term itself, Detty December was popularized by Ghanaian creator. He actually invented it. And music personality Meister. He used it as a playful way to describe how dirty, dirty meaning intense, lively, and an unforgettable way of partying. Now, the celebrations can get into all these zones. And so he basically coined this word to represent all that. And then it caught fire. It caught fire in Nigeria, became a thing in Ghana. We held it very well during the year of return and made it a thing. And so since then, it's grown into a cultural phrase that basically signals an entire season of festivity, which I can break down into smaller bits in the course of the conversation.
Exactly. We'll get into the smaller bits shortly, but I am sure Abiodun does not agree with the fact that this is December.
Absolutely.
Abiodun, let's hear you. What do you think? Nigerians have a whole different concept on how this started. Tell us.
Yeah, mostly during December. Few days before Christmas, let's say December 15th or earlier, when young people take time, just like you said, take time to unwind from the trouble that comes with the year. We have relatives traveling from one part of the country to the other to visit their loved ones, and then we have Nigerians in diaspora coming back home to unite with their people. Because there are a lot of cultural festival, cultural and social activities where people gather, had fun, go to concerts, enjoy themselves. And I think I would disagree with the assumption that it was coined by Ghanaian. We had Mr. Easy who discussed on his platform that he was the first one to actually trademark the term Detty December when he was trying to organize a concert in Lagos. So so it's a whole lot of activities for Nigeria within this period. And apart from that, just we also have that period is also usher in a strong sense that the culture, nightlife, the styles. We can say that Ghana actually packaged it, neatly and marketed it, globally. But Nigeria so much enjoyed the seasons, and for now, trademark and highlight the season, especially when it comes to the music life, the nightlife, the stars that comes into the country. And even right now, we still have most foreign nationals that have now come back to the country to just enjoy the moment. I mean, as of last year, December, Lagos State alone accrued almost about $71 million as revenue during this period. So you know how big it is in Nigeria compared to Ghana.
Well, that is a point to debate, and unfortunately for you, we have two Ghanaians on this podcast. So, I am sorry to you, Abiodun. I am very sure that Eskin will have something to say about that. But in terms of revenue, Abiodun mentions the revenue that Nigeria, Lagos alone, got from Detty December. We also know that somewhere in 2019, 2020, 2021, 22, when Ghana was, holding this very well. I remember in 2022, there was a time when there was back-to-back. You have Afrochella, you have Afro Nation, you have Detty Ray. There was so much to do and there was so much fun. Erskine, do you think that Ghana is raking in the needed revenue from this whole Detty December thing?
I think yes. And before I continue, let me make a quick correction there. We still have it. I think in your delivery there, you mentioned that when we had it, it's a fort we still hold. And when it comes to the figures, in terms of revenue, Ghana raked in a lot. We made a lot of money in 2019. Now, the Ghana Tourism Authority puts out the figures yearly, linking it to numbers, okay? Let me look at the numbers that poured in December 2019, 116,438 new arrivals. Now, in terms of global revenue, there was about 3.3 billion US dollars from tourism, and Ghana made about 15% based on information I had online out of this money on revenue for tourism alone.
But that also largely had to do with the year of return that was being launched in 2019. So not necessarily linked to Detty December, but in 2019.
It was all a part of that. I mean, let me break this down. When we say December in Ghana, when we speak about tourism, it largely covers a lot of aspects that people don't look at. Events, all these parties and concepts that are curated for people who are coming from the diaspora. It was basically a concept that was sold to them. And so right from that spot, the Detty term had already evolved. The year of return was basically to bring people back home. It was an idea that had already been established. It existed, but it was just very much amplified to the world market in 2019, all thanks to it. And I would gladly, attribute it to things like Detty December. There was a new vibe to it because usually people would come home and they would visit the tourist sites, go to the castles and the rest, but then in centralizing the fun and making the experience better for them, things like Detty December came in to pretty much strengthen our force as an economy when it comes to tourism, especially in December. And so I can agree with you on a level and also disagree because the experience built around that was what actually got them to come in their numbers. I remember when the celebrities, Michael Blackson and them were coming down, they were not coming down just because they had to just return home. I mean, the concept was come back home, year of return, and it was pushed even in Nigeria as well. But why did they choose Ghana? Why did they want to come to Ghana? It was because of events like Afrochella, all these events that were heavily publicized and promoted outside Ghana. And so I do think something more than just the year of return had strong grips on ensuring that we had the numbers we had in the year 2019. Of course, the beginning of all this we see now. Just to continue, in the COVID year, things took a nosedive a bit, obviously because the world was restricted from moving. 2021 was a little bit of recovery globally. The revenue numbers dropped from the billions into the millions. In 2022, after the COVID pandemic was eased a bit, lockdown was out of the way, it started growing again. 2023, 3.81 billion globally from world tourism. 2024, it went up. This year, Ghana alone, if I will take you through, because the figures for the tourism revenue aren't out yet, what I can bank on is the numbers that are coming in and the number of events and improvements that have been made in the economy when it comes to tourism. And so if that answers your question, I think I would just hold on to the facts as we move forward. I believe my brother Abiodun will add his comments as well.
Abiodun, in terms of the key events that brings in the numbers, what can you tell us? What are they? Where are they usually centered? Is it in Lagos? Is it in Abuja? Is it in the rural areas? What can you tell us?
For Nigeria here, Lagos is like where the vibe is. Although there are a couple of other states where people go to just relieve from the stress of Lagos. And I will tell you for a fact, this year, Lagos was so packed full this year that people were moving closer to places like Ibadan, Abuja, because Ibadan is just like a few hours drive to Lagos, Ogun State, just to have a sense of what Detty December is. And currently this year, just that our statistics is not yet out, but Nigeria is doing and still doing fairly well at this festive season, especially considering the economic pressures that the country is facing. Lagos in particular was building this particular year, and it's still building. Flights are full. We did a podcast sometimes last week where we talked about the cost of transportation in Nigeria and how high it was. So that does tell you hotels also were fully booked ahead of time, and you can see traffic itself told its own stories that things are really going on in the country. So most of these activities actually host in Lagos, in terms of concerts, in terms of short music in semi-urban communities, in terms of hotels, accommodations, air flights, and local economies are also right very well, having their sales.
So both of you have agreed that the Detty December indeed brings in some kind of revenue, whether it is in Ghana or in Nigeria. You can talk about the food industry, music, clothing, and just business in general. I'll throw this question out so that which of you can answer will take it. Do you think that we are raking in the maximum benefit from this end of year party?
Yes, we're making the most out of it. And so last week, I got the opportunity of sitting with the Deputy CEO of the Ghana Tourism Authority. And when they do the breakdown for you, December in Ghana, the craze, the rave, the global attention Ghana in particular is receiving is being used, it's being put into good use. Local tourism is a business that is really growing. People are getting more into providing or provision of accommodation. People are getting into real estate, rentals for Airbnbs. People are now buying cars to get into ride-hailing services. The country gets a lot of spend when it comes to people who visit the country during December and then around the activities, linked to December in Ghana, of course, Detty December. Now, top spending areas according to GTA, one is accommodation, about 33.34% of the total revenue gained from tourism in December comes through accommodation, entertainment and recreation. So all these events that are curated, the Afro Futures, the taste, the cultures, all the different concerts held by the various artists. So Black Sharif has his own concert, Sarkodie has his concert, Medical has his concert, Shatawale, Stoneboy did an impeccable job with his concert recently, Kweku Smoke. All these are big names who are making a lot of waves around the world. And so they create their own shows during December and rake in about 17% of the total revenue. And then the rest lies with food and beverage. The food business is booming in Ghana. You can't drive 2 kilometers without coming across a new restaurant. I think that's why if you've visited Ghana recently, you attest to this. Everybody is basically getting into food business. We have corporates getting into side businesses just to set up food businesses. So Ghana as a country and as an economy is really positioning itself right to take advantage of this. I think with the track record we've had since 2019, a lot of people have really benefited from this. And so to answer your question, yes, we're really taking advantage of it. And through this too, we're selling Ghana to the rest of the world, because a lot of people who come here are going back to the US to sell Ghana. They're going back to Europe. I was in the US in October, and I was amazed at the number of people who would ask me, oh, is this event happening? Is this event selling their tickets? When you tell them you are from Ghana, it only tells you the amount of information and brand exports we're doing as an economy. So yes, just to confirm what you said, we're really taking advantage of this Detty December and December in Ghana, festivities, of course, around December.
Let me stay with you a while, Eskin. We have heard the authorities in Ghana talk about the fact that they don't want the term dirty to be associated with the entire December in Ghana celebration. What do you make of this?
I think that was quite an unfortunate statement. It was the head of the diaspora affairs who made that comment. And I think from where I sit, it was a personal comment that was made. He said he's not a huge fan. And just a little backstory on this particular comment. KOD, Kofi Otredakon, is a seasoned broadcaster. He's before he was actually appointed as the head of the diaspora affairs, he was into events himself. He actually has Rhythms on the Runway, one of the flagship events for December, as a matter of fact. Now, I think his term and his comments stemmed from the pressure, it brought to the country, and the fact that people naturally linked it to the word dirty, that is D-I-R-T-Y. I think personal comments he made, none of that he said was issued by the Ghana Tourism Authority. None of what he said was issued by the Diaspora Affairs. It's a personal comment he made, and as I said, it's quite unfortunate statement, but that doesn't represent what the country feels about Detty December. I still stand on the point that the word was coined by a Ghanaian. It was just made popular in Nigeria, and then we took it back and then institutionalized it and restructured it into a business that is now taking charge of December as an economy and opening, eyes from the world to different sectors under the scope of tourism in Ghana people wouldn't have known in the past. And so it's rather unfortunate. It does not mean the country doesn't like the word Detty December. It's still ours. As much as we're having December in Ghana, it is Detty December still. The Detty December is the atmosphere it creates, but the entire concept, the entire business and the entire structure built out of this is what we call December in Ghana now.
Abiodun, I have seen a lot of social media discussions. I mean, whenever this comes out, you hear people say that Ghana usually starts things, Nigeria takes it and makes it better. Is that what the feeling is really like on the ground? I mean, you have been speaking to some people. What have they been telling you about Detty December?
Yeah. Basically, Nigeria takes agency of Detty December, like ownership of Detty December. So almost everyone I spoke to on the streets also alluded to that Detty December is a Nigerian thing. It's not something to even rival with Ghana. It's something that we invented and we coined, and it is our own. That's basically what people were telling me on the streets. And when you look at how rich it has become in Nigeria, apart from the fact that we're talking about parties, that is mostly for Lagos. We also have carnivals in places like Calabar, and also places like Ibadan, Abeokuta offer a kind of cultural and quiet getaway. So for many Nigerians, it is beyond just the coinage of the word Detty December, and with how we've taken it over the year, and how important it is for international artists to start coming into Nigeria as a result of Detty December. I mean, for many Nigeria, and just like what they told me while on the field, it's a Nigerian thing. We own it and don't even have to rival with Ghana about where it comes from.
If there's one thing I am sure about, is that this debate is never going to end. ever, just like jollof rice and how it has dragged for years. But anyways, let me come back to you, Eskin. In terms of making Detty December better, what do you think is the role of governments? And I want you to tackle this holistically, not just as a Ghana thing, but as an African thing. What can African governments do to make the most out of this tourism drive?
So I think it's something that falls very heavy when it comes to planning for an economy. Tourism plays a key role, and I would want to state holistically, like you said, the government has started, and I'd want to also commend our previous government, the New Patriotic Party, for helping Ghana's December take shape. The NDC is also doing a great job, continuing where they left off. I think we need to just amplify more, do a little bit more investment in promoting what we do as an economy throughout the year. I'd say this because it's stuff that are being done already. When you take the fiscal year, the Ghana Tourism Authority, through its department, and of course, under the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, focuses so much on ensuring that the entire year is really amplified. And so Ghana, unlike other countries, has themes for every single month. There's Cocoa Month, there's Made in Ghana Month. We celebrate Kwame Nkrumah, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. We celebrate several cultural holidays. We have different, tribes celebrating their festivals, which are heavily attended by people from the diaspora and locally as well. All these things are being institutionalized. So now there are different departments under the government, and they are constantly also expanding their reach on what is certified, to operate under the business scope of tourism as well. I believe more of these things should be done. They also should be able to ease things up for the private sector as well, and then step in and basically regulate pricing on a lot of things. Now, what you see with the trends, with the revenue that comes in, the percentage that goes to accommodation, tells you how much focus goes on there. But then things are priced however people like. I mean, I have a lot of properties to use as accommodation, so I price my things my own way. But I believe in ensuring that we make December in Ghana better. We can try and then get in. The government should get in and try and regulate some of these prices and ensure that there are governing rules beyond what already exists under the scope of tourism to further accommodate the influx of people coming in. The numbers are constantly growing. As I speak to you, Delta Airline has introduced another direct flight from ATL. Now, you don't have to fly from ATL to New York before you come to Ghana because of the inflow of people coming in, So a lot is happening. Things are growing. All these events that are happening, the different structures of events that are cropping up by the day, the numerous, sectors that are opening up under December in Ghana are growing. And so it definitely demands a lot of work. So basically, they need to double up on whatever they're doing in amplifying what has to be done, in structuring things well, and ensuring that the people are protected in this by regulating certain things that fall under the scope of, tourism. That's basically what I think should be done.
Very well. What better way to end the discussion than on this note? Thank you so much, gentlemen. I appreciate your time.
Welcome, Ajua. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you for having me too.
Get the stories that are shaping the continent here on Africa Link.
Well, we hit the streets to ask some Nigerians what they think about Detty December.
I think a lot of people will agree that it is Nigeria, owing to the fact that a lot of international artists travel down to Nigeria for celebration.
The term Detty December actually came up from Nigerians, actually, and the music, the culture, especially in Lagos, December period or season is when every other person, everybody people come all over the world back to Nigeria, Lagos to be precise.
The origin of the word in itself was a concert by Mr. Easy, I think in 2016, thereabout. And it was to be in Lagos. And that was like the origin of Detty December, Detty December, Detty December. So I do not think we can now say that it is owned by another country. I mean, when we are talking about the copyright of the word, we can debate if Easy, because I once listened to Easy's podcast where he was talking about the fact that he had the word Detty December or the phrase Detty December copyrighted. Basically about Nigeria, I believe Nigeria owns the experience because the entire experience stems from that. And we started taking, as our music started going international, we started bringing some of these experiences home little by little, until it's become like a full-blown experience of Nigerians in diaspora trying to come back to Nigeria in December to just, chill and relax.
One thing is clear. Detty December will keep fueling this friendly rivalry between Ghana and Nigeria. But beyond the competition, what matters most is that both countries and Africa as a whole benefit. Whether through tourism, trade, new partnerships, or simply by celebrating together, everyone stands to gain. So how can these nations make the most of this vibrant, lucrative season? Share your thoughts with us on DW Africa Facebook page, listen on Spotify or wherever you get your podcast, and subscribe to our DW Africa YouTube channel so you never miss an episode. This show was co-produced and edited by Isaac Mugabe. I am Ajua Tinkrama Domina. Many thanks for listening and have yourself a refreshing new year.
DW, made for minds.